This is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 27th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.24 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,188 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,510. Antiwar.com reports citing a general shift in U.S. military focus towards targeting Russia and China in great power competition. Officials say the U.S. will be withdrawing 4 Patriot missile systems from the Middle East. The systems in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain will be sent back to the U.S. in the next 2 months for refit and modernization, and then will be moved on to other locations where they can target nations that are more fashionable targets right now. Pentagon officials are refusing to provide specifics on where these missiles are going, but talks of targeting Russia would suggest more deployments to Eastern Europe, where the U.S. has been participating in a protracted NATO buildup against Russia. As far as China goes, deployment would be less clear, though this might be part of a Pacific pivot that U.S. officials have been talking up for years on end. This may mean deployments to Southeast Asia, as presumably the Korean Peninsula will not be considered with ongoing diplomacy there. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Federal Reserve raised federal interest rates another 0.25% Wednesday to 2.25%. This was the third interest rate increase this year by the Federal Open Market Committee. That committee said in a statement, economic activity has been rising at a strong rate. Job gains have been strong on average in recent months, and the unemployment rate has stayed low. Both overall inflation and inflation for items other than food and energy remain near 2%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up slightly before the Fed's decision on Wednesday, but gained an additional 35 points immediately after the announcement. The Dow typically shows little movement on days of federal policy announcements. The Fed also offered projections for the economy, calling for a change in real GDP in 2019 of 3.1%, above the 2.8% goal of the Trump administration. Inflation is expected to stay in the 2% range for the next 3 years. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports Uber Technologies will pay $148 million for failing to disclose a massive data breach in 2016, marking a costly resolution to one of the biggest embarrassments and legal tangles the ride-hailing company has suffered. The settlement with 50 U.S. states and Washington, D.C. brings closure to one of several high-stakes legal battles Uber is seeking to resolve before an initial public offering next year, while also delivering a national rebuke against Uber's history of flouting laws and basic business ethics. The $148 million is the largest among attorneys general settlements in privacy cases. By comparison, the multi-state settlement with Target Corp in 2017 over a breach in which 41 million people had their data stolen was $18.5 million. The settlement with Uber follows a 10-month investigation into a data breach that exposed personal data from 57 million Uber accounts, including 600,000 driver's license numbers. The cover-up, widely seen by states as violating data breach reporting and data security laws, drew the ire of authorities across the United States, as well as the United Kingdom, Australia, and the Philippines. About half of the data breach victims lived in the United States. The settlement terms include changes to Uber's business practices aimed at preventing further breaches and reforming its corporate culture. Uber will be required to report any data security incidents to states on a quarterly basis for the next 2 years and implement a comprehensive information security program overseen by an executive officer who advises executive staff and Uber's board of directors. In November 2016, Uber paid hackers $100,000 to destroy the stolen data using its bug bounty program. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A Japanese-American internment facility was still in operation in the mountains of Northern California. The facility should have been closed in 1945 and its 6,000 residents released, but unfortunately the camp was overlooked until this week. I am happy to announce, however, that the remaining 118 detainees have now been fully exonerated of suspicion of spying for General Tojo, and they have been freed. Next item of business. The President will be meeting with the Australian Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd. Yes, Denise?
This is a huge oversight. How could this have happened?
Well, Denise, it looks like the camp just somehow slipped through the cracks. The end of the Second World War was a hectic time in America, and it's only natural that we let a couple of things slip in our excitement over defeating the Nazis.
Who was going to be held responsible for this?
Congressional investigation?
No, there won't. In fact, the War Relocation Authority was responsible for the decommissioning of the internment facilities, but that organization ceased to exist in 1946, so no.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily where you can call in and join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Daryl.
And Chris.
And, well, kind of breaking news-ish. Headline from about 2 hours ago. And, yes, we generally don't break news on this show, nor do we attempt to fix it. Let's see what I did there. What was the old Comedy Central thing? When news breaks, we fix it, or something.
I've never heard that, but it sounds like a funny byline, Daryl.
Yeah. So apparently, CNBC has the story about one of your favorite people, Chris, and that would be Mr. Elon Musk.
Saint Elon. Yeah. Absolutely. Great. Okay.
CNBC has the article, Tesla CEO Elon Musk has been sued by the Securities and Exchange Commission for fraud, according to court documents filed on Thursday.
Basically, that means he said something, right?
Yeah. It started with him saying something, but it's not just, the sky is blue. It's going to rain tomorrow.
Well, I remember there was a whole bunch of stuff because the SEC, people were complaining because he had said what they felt were false and misleading things. And when you're regulated by the government, when you say things like that and you fall under the purview of the SEC, then those statements can be considered gospel if you happen to be the, CEO or
right.
a officer of a major company.
So I decided to pop over to the SEC to read their release, and then we can jump back to the CNBC article. Starts off by basically saying the same thing, that he's being charged with fraud for a series of false, misleading tweets about a potential transaction to take Tesla private. On August 7th, Musk tweeted that to his 22 million Twitter followers, that he could take Tesla private at $420 per share, a substantial premium to its trading price at the time.
Funding secured.
That funding for the transaction had been secured and that the only remaining uncertainty was a vote by the shareholders. The SEC complaint alleges that, in truth, Musk had not even discussed specific terms of a deal with any potential financing partners, and he allegedly knew that the potential transaction was uncertain and subject to numerous contingencies. According to the SEC's complaint, the tweets by Musk caused Tesla's stock price to jump over 6% on August 7th and led to significant market disruption. And then they have some quotes from some bureaucrats there with the SEC. So that's the fraud of, hey guys, I'm going to wind up buying all of your shares at $420, knowing full well that he wasn't going to be able to buy shares at $420.
Was the 420 chosen after he had gone on the Joe Rogan show?
No, he went on the Joe Rogan show well after August 7th.
Okay, so the 420 amount doesn't have anything to do with him celebrating 420 with Joe Rogan.
Correct.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I mean, that's the whole thing. And, you know, the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, is just here to protect you.
Right. And, you know, this really opens up a much broader discussion. And as you mentioned, you know, he's basically being charged with a crime, or here being sued by the SEC because he said stuff.
He did. He said things,
Now,
Daryl.
At what point does saying things cross over into fraud that would then give, you know, some government agency jurisdiction to say you committed fraud?
That's a great question. Right now, I'm couching this whole argument and this whole question in the terms of our president, who routinely says, I'm sorry, if you like Trump...
He says lots of words.
He says lots of words, and oftentimes those words are...
Some of those are the best words in terms of vocabulary.
Sometimes those words are flat-out lies. And whether he means them as lies, I don't know. I'm not inside the head of Donald Trump, but he says things that are blatantly false. Does that mean that our president should be sued by our government for making false claims, for stating false... Were there really 1 million people on the lawn when he gave his inauguration? He swore up and down that there were 1 million people there.
Right. And I think in this particular case, because this is the Securities and Exchange Commission, they're saying that because the statements had to do with the value of stocks, that by saying I can buy your stock for, you know, X% above what it's currently valued at, that gives people false hope. And so then there's speculative trading of, well, if I buy it here and then it winds up.
Again, I'm going back to my Trump analogy on everything you just said, every single part that you just said.
And it must really pain you to defend Elon Musk here, which is part of why I wanted to start with this.
Daryl does like to.
And why I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. But at the same time, like, I honestly don't know, like, where is that fine line between somebody just saying stuff and blowing smoke and something that is out and out fraud?
Right. And if there is out and out fraud, we don't need a government agency to dictate and to smack St. Elon on the hands and say you owe us $100 million fine. Because it's going to be some stupid number. Maybe it's maybe it's $1 billion fine. Who knows? What I have a problem with Elon Musk is him taking $5.4 billion that I know of in government handouts. So, you know, when they say you didn't build that, Elon, when they're talking about Tesla, he didn't build that. If you've paid your taxes, you helped build that. That's my issue with Elon Musk. My issue with the SEC is we don't need an SEC. Believe it or not, folks, if you go back in time through the history of stock markets and trading, most of the time, guess what? We did not have an SEC. What we had was a judicial system in most countries that would allow someone to bring suit against someone who makes false claims.
Right.
And that's where this should be handled. We don't need however many useless bodies reside within SEC headquarters. We don't need any of them. What you need to do is not protect people like Elon Musk and let people sue the pants off of him.
Right. And, you know, one thing where I kind of disagree, from what I've been told, where I disagree with, say, the Austrian School of Economics, the Austrian school, as I've been told, says that the stock market is completely indicative of the value of a company. But I seem to believe that the stock market is largely speculative about the value of a company.
Of course it is. Of course it is, because you can look at the numbers. The numbers tell one side of it. The other side is the people. And if anybody is invested in any company ever, you're investing as much in the leadership and the people and the culture and everything else as you are in just the raw numbers.
Right. And I realize that I'm probably dating myself with this reference, but the older listeners will definitely remember the dot-com boom.
Yeah.
where everybody was just starting a company, throwing .com on the end of it, and then they were getting venture capitalist money out the wazoo, and the stock prices were skyrocketing, but hardly any of them had any product to sell. Hardly any of them had any service to sell.
Sounds sort of like today's blockchain booms. But yeah, I mean, there were all sorts of companies that came up out of nowhere. Pets.com, I mean, that was a famous one.
Yeah.
You go from like having Super Bowl ads, like what's the dream of a company in marketing? Man, we're going to have ads in the Super Bowl. And then what, a year and a half later, you're gone.
Yeah.
You've been erased from the annals of history.
Pets.com, now owned by PetSmart.
Yeah, well, somebody bought it. Somebody bought the name is what they did.
Your calls and thoughts, welcome. 855-450-FREE. Yeah, that's all any of the .com things were. They were names. 855-450-FREE. More on St. Elon, patron saint of Give Me Your Money. This is Free Talk Live. Zencash is now Horizon, and Free Talk Live is giving away some Zen. I have selected a number between 1 and 999 to enter. Send an email with your transparent Zen address to Daryl@freetalklive.com. The subject line must be a number between 1 and 999. The person closest to the number will receive 1.75 Zen. Again, to enter, send an email with your Zen address to Daryl@freetalklive.com. Subject line being a number between 1 and 999.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. SaveATPurse.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. That's how you can call in and join us and bring up whatever's on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Daryl.
And Chris.
And we'll get back into the story here about Elon Musk in just a second. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about Liberty.menu. For years, and when I say years, I mean at least a decade that I am aware of, libertarians have wanted a directory of liberty-minded businesses. There have been a lot of attempts, but they all seem to go by the wayside. One that seems to be sticking around and growing is Liberty.menu. It's a tool for our community. At its core is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. I actually listed an event earlier today. It's super easy to use. And not only is it easy to use, but the listings and the events can be rated and reviewed, and there's also a bit of a social networking aspect where you can connect and share with other users. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu. Use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. Liberty.menu, code FTL. Again, Daryl and Chris in the studio tonight. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free call-in line. Plus, we do have the Discord channels. You can find those over at discord.lrn.fm. So jumping back into the story here from CNBC, and we just barely touched on this and read a little bit from the press release from the SEC, where SEC has filed suit against Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, and I think a couple other companies, because he wound up tweeting back in August that he wanted to take Tesla private and he could buy the shares at $420 a share. Also claimed that he had secured financing, but the only thing left was a vote by the shareholders. The SEC, however, alleges that Musk knew that he didn't have financing available and apparently knew that the shareholders were not going to agree to this thing. And so, therefore, they're alleging that he made fraudulent statements, specifically in regards to something about money.
So all the shareholders are then going to sue Elon Musk for falsely inflating the price. Is that what? No, it's not that. It's the government.
Right.
The government. What? How many shares? Well, this used to be a joke, but I was going to say, how many shares of stock does our government own? Well, at one point,
how much of GM do they own? Government Motors.
Exactly.
Chrysler. If you count all of the weapons and whatnot that they buy from Boeing, BAE, and some of the other companies, then that's essentially being a shareholder.
Yeah, but I mean, it's up to the shareholders. It's up to them whether they have faith in Elon Musk. If they fail to have faith, they can certainly, through proxy, minimally vote him off the board. They can vote him out of the company. Steve Jobs was kicked out of Apple. Steve friggin' Jobs. I mean, that's a guy of Elon Musk proportions by today's adulation. So it's just kind of silly. And like I said, this is not a role of government. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say the government shall, the federal government or Congress shall pass laws to make sure that CEOs don't say things.
Something interstate commerce.
Right. And that's the whole thing. They keep going back to the interstate commerce clause. They go back to basically all these.
He used the post office that one time, and the Constitution mentions post office, so therefore we've got authority.
It's the government and the Supreme Court having to dredge up these cockamamie reasons why they believe that their actions are constitutional, and they're not constitutional. I got a dirty little secret for you. If you've never read the Constitution, guess what?
It's only like 4 pages long.
It's only like 4 pages long, and you could understand it. If you have a high school education.
But it's got a lot of commas.
It does have a lot of commas, Daryl, and there are a few words that you may have to resort to a dictionary.
Like enumeration.
Right. But I'm telling you, the Constitution was not written, and it was written by design as something that people could read and understand. This is not a big mystery, and we just have this as another example of government run amok.
So continuing on with the CNBC article, they say the SEC complaint alleges that Musk issued false and misleading statements and failed to properly notify regulators of material company events. The SEC held a press conference on Thursday regarding the complaint.
Hold on, you got to report when you do things too.
Apparently, if you're a publicly traded company, there are certain things that you are required to report.
I did not get your Evite for this announcement. We're suing you. So $100 million.
Here's a reason to never be a publicly traded company.
Yeah, well, there's pros and cons. I mean, it's traditionally it's been the best way to raise a large amount of money if you need to do so.
Oh, there are wonderful things now. WeFunder is one that I'm not sure if you've ever heard of. But there were some rules that wound up being changed not too terribly long ago that makes it easier for small investors. That's people that want to invest less than like $20,000.
And frequently people, you listening to this, likely cannot invest in a lot of great investments because you are not a, quote, qualified investor.
Right. So through this site, I am now a part owner of a Lucha Libre wrestling promotion.
I don't even know where to go with that, Daryl.
Of course not.
It's so Daryl on every possible level.
Yes.
Okay, well, congratulations for you. But now we are seeing ways to get around to that.
Right,
we're looking at ways to do more fractional ownership of stocks and things like that.
And this is not this wrestling promotion. It is not a publicly traded company, and they've made sure that they've said that the stocks that we are selling, while you're technically a part owner, you don't have any say over day-to-day operations. You don't get to show up to shareholder meetings. Blah da 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 da. But it's just something, like I threw $200 and I get to say I'm a part owner of this wrestling promotion.
Right. And that's one way. And there's other ways that you can support these things.
Right.
But there is a number of different startups that, are working on, particularly in blockchain technology,
Right.
same technology that's behind Bitcoin and Ethereum and things like that, where they are trying to come up with a way to bridge that gap between traditional stock ownership and basically the IPO way of raising money and allow the small investor to take advantage of these deals. And if you don't have $250,000, I think that's the limit for being a qualified investor, $250,000 liquid, then you can't play. People that have that laying around, they can play, but you cannot.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. More from CNBC about what the SEC wants to do to Elon Musk. This is Free Talk Live.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And Chris, did you find out if you're an accredited investor?
No, Daryl. It turns out I did find out, and no, I am not, because I don't have, first of all, I don't have a company that has a net worth of $5 million. So that must mean that a lot of our listeners at home are probably accredited investors, according to the SEC. All you need is $1 million.
Or if your earned income is over $200,000 for the last 2 years,
and has been,
and you reasonably believe that it will be for this year and future years,
right? So as you're adding up your dollars, your assets to get to $1 million, realize that your primary home cannot be counted as an asset. And they go into all sorts of things that assess your indebtedness and so on and so on. Now, here's how I think is right if you were to look at from a liberty perspective. I have some money that I am willing to risk, and I understand the risks. Therefore, I'd like to buy X number of stinking shares of stock.
Oh, if it's less than a certain amount of money that we just arbitrarily decide,
right.
The only gambling that you can do, sir, is on black or on 00.
Oh, no. You can go buy the state-run gambling like
you can
lotteries.
buy some scratch-offs, but
right.
We recommend the roulette wheel because that has better payouts.
Right. So again,
worse odds, but better payouts.
I get picked on a lot by a lot of libertarians for sometimes picking on the wealthy, and I'm not picking on the wealthy. What I'm picking on is a oligarchy that has created laws that favor the wealthy. And when we start getting into the idea of an accredited investor, that is so completely anti-free market. It's just insane. Anyone should, if they are comfortable investing their money in anything, they should be able to approach that person and say, I'd like to invest. You don't need a government babysitter sitting there coming up with rules with arbitrary numbers to say, yes, you can, no, you can't.
Right. And there's more from CNBC about this Elon Musk lawsuit where he is being sued by the SEC. But first to the Discord. You can find that over at discord.lrn.fm. Turd Ferguson is on the line. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, how's it going, gentlemen? Yeah, so I just got finished watching the Brett Kavanaugh testimony, which was quite riveting, if I do say so myself.
Was it?
All right.
Yeah, well, in fact, Donald Trump, actually, I've already seen his tweet on CNN.com, which says, Judge Kavanaugh showed America exactly why I nominated him. His testimony was powerful, honest, and riveting. Democrats' search and destroy strategy is disgraceful, and this process has been a total sham, an effort to delay, obstruct, and resist. The Senate must vote. It's going to be huge. It's going to be
huge.
So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this guy should be confirmed to the Supreme Court? He absolutely hates the Fourth Amendment. It gets in the way of spying that he loves so much.
He does love his spying.
Well, so thank you for bringing it up, though. Well, to be honest, I don't even think that's the issue. I think the entire Supreme Court should be abolished, so I really don't care. But I think this brings up a much more important point in our society today. The problem with our society right now, and I'm not talking about Brett Kavanaugh specifically. I don't care what happened. I mean, it was 35 years ago. It's just we all have to move on from that. But the problem with our society now is that here in the Me Too era, it is every mother's worst nightmare that their son can be accused of rape with no evidence to support it, no physical evidence. And then when it comes down to it, when it's a woman's word against the man's word, who's going to win?
Well, based on statistics, only about 6 out of every 1,000 rapes actually end in conviction. So generally, it's stuff that doesn't actually ever get to trial, sadly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Turd, for the call. But, this does kind of bring up a conversation that can be had to where I saw somebody post earlier today on, I forget if it was Facebook or Twitter, where they said, have you noticed that nobody asked why the boys that were molested by priests waited 35 years before coming out? But yet, whenever it's a woman that waits some period of time before coming out, there's all these questions of, well, why didn't she say something sooner?
I wouldn't say that there was never. I've heard or I've read that in headlines and heard talking heads say that about the Catholic priests and their victims.
Right, but there's never been anybody called into this show saying, well, those boys shouldn't have waited 35 years to say something about that priest.
Yeah, and there you've got just a sort of a...
It definitely seems to be a double standard.
It is. Personally, I don't know that. I think it's going to be really hard to ever find anybody to do anything if your standard is go back 30 years to when they were adolescents and what they did drunk at parties. And I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying that bad stuff happens, and it's not just men who do it. Women do it. I mean, there's all kinds of crap. And it's just one of those things. In the end, I don't think it's unfair to have Kavanaugh answer questions about allegations of sexual misconduct. I think it speaks to character. Now I'm taking off my voluntarist hat and I'm putting on my limited government hat, and I'm saying, if you're going to do this stuff, then realize that I think people should know as much about their character as they do about their positions. And I don't think that's unreasonable.
For those watching the webcam on twitch.lrn.fm, you will note that Chris did not actually take off his hat that says "Live Free or Die" and then put on a different hat.
Yeah. Same
when
hat.
mentioning removing hats. It's the same exact hat.
There we go.
So back into the CNBC story about Elon Musk. Among other remedies, the SEC is seeking to bar Musk from serving as an officer or director of a publicly traded company if he is found guilty. Stephanie Avakian, co-director of the SEC's Division of Enforcement, said during a press conference on Thursday, a chairman and CEO of a public company has important responsibilities to shareholders. Those responsibilities include the need to be scrupulous and careful about the truth and accuracy of statements made to the investing public, whether those statements are made in traditional forms such as a press release or an earnings call, or through less formal means such as Twitter and other social media. She added, neither celebrity status nor reputation as a technological innovator provide an exemption from the federal securities laws.
Of course they do.
Musk called the allegations unjustified and said he never compromised his integrity. He told CNBC, this is an unjustified action by the SEC that leaves me deeply saddened and disappointed. I have always taken action in the best interest of truth, transparency, and investors. Integrity is the most important value in my life, and the facts will show I never compromised that in any way. Again, they mentioned the tweet from August where he talked about taking the company private, claiming that he had secured funding, but the SEC is alleging that he knew that he did not actually secure the funding. They state 9 specific things here in the complaint that I will skip through. We'll post the link on the social medias, on the Twitter, the Telegram, and the Mastodon. We can continue talking about this or whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Plus, coming up later, something about Facebook's two-factor authentication. Or are they using that to target you with ads? It's not to keep you safe? What? This is Free Talk Live. This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January, 9 of their clients have walked free. Innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And because of the Innocence Project, the risk of being wrongfully convicted has been greatly reduced for millions of people. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform our broken criminal justice system to prevent wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need their help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. You can help the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to getthetea.com And stock up on organic, non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. Getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
Turning to health news, doctors at Johns Hopkins Medical School have discovered that bones are the coolest part of the body. The 10-year study found that although the body has many cool things in it, nothing is cooler than your skeleton.
Just think about it. You have this soft, fleshy body, but inside of it, there's a second, tinier body that's made out of a super hard rock. Our data is conclusive. Bones are very, very cool.
To conduct the study, researchers examined every single body part and determined how cool or uncool it was.
We initially thought the brain might be the coolest part because it's like a computer that runs on food. But when we looked at it up close, it was all gross and wrinkled. Brains are not cool. Bones are cool.
Doctors discovered that there are big, strong bones like baseball bats in your arms and legs, hand bones that look like a monster claw, and skull bones that make a scary face. Doctors did caution that as cool as human bones are, they're not nearly as cool as dinosaur bones.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveAtPurse.com. Since 2014, and Chris, I realize you're not the person that has saved the entire $4 million on Save It Purse. You've contributed a good bit to it, but it's actually over 200,000 users over the last 4 years have combined to save an average of 15% for over $4 million using Bitcoin, BTC. Nice. And for the last couple of months, SaveItPurse.com has been accepting Bitcoin Cash directly to allow you to fund your account that way as well. You can save between 5 to 33% on things that you were going to buy anyway, or maybe you just want to, get something maybe special for yourself because you can get a 20% discount and you've already saved a bunch of money and you've got a little bit in your account there at Save It Purse. You add items to the cart, you fund the account, you select your discount, and you save. SaveAtPurse.com. That's Save AT Purse, all one word, SaveAtPurse.com. So we've been talking about Elon Musk and the SEC going after him because of some things he said on Twitter that they're saying wound up violating some laws because apparently there's some kind of reporting that needs to be done about stuff, and you can't just speculate about what stock prices are going to be in a public manner because somehow that manipulates stock prices.
Despite the fact that it infringes upon your freedom of speech, you are free to say things, even if they're false. That is a natural right. You're
you're using logic here, Chris.
I apologize for that, but I think to all the musketeers out there, they should realize that this is not an SEC. Yeah, I know. I did say musketeers in reference to Elon Musk.
It took me a second to catch that.
Yeah. But this is a freedom of speech issue. You can't say the government agency, a government, and let's trace this back to the Constitution. Let's trace it back to the Bill of Rights. First Amendment: Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Do I have that right? Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Pretty dang close. And that's it. And here we have the SEC, created by Congress, making a law that says, Elon Musk, you cannot say these things. And more to the point, we are going to fine you for using words. And that's it. And you've got to stay focused on that. If you want government to be there at every turn to tell you what you can and cannot hear so you can make a decision for yourself, I feel sorry for you.
The SEC says that, again, they've got at least 9 things written in their complaint, but they said that Musk failed to properly notify regulators about his plans to take the company private. So because he planned to do something, but he didn't tell some bureaucrat, that's illegal, apparently. Again, if anything, this is a really good reason to never have an IPO for your company. More on this later, but first to the phones, 855-450 free. We've got Matthew calling in from Louisiana. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
So, did y'all know that apparently the FBI has a time machine?
I did not know that the FBI had a time machine. Are you being facetious here, or did they admit this during some kind of press conference that happened tomorrow?
Well, or did it happen the day before tomorrow? The Senate Democrats on the Judiciary Committee kept insisting that only the FBI can get to the bottom of this Kavanaugh thing. And I'm thinking, they can't really do that because you're going to wind up with the same result. He said, she said. And while all of this is going on, I'm racking my brain about my past. And I'm thinking of the sexual encounters I've had with female humans. I think they were all consensual, but what happens if somebody withdraws their consent?
Yeah. Well, there have actually been court cases in various state Supreme Courts that handle exactly what happens if someone withdraws consent during the act. And while they're hold on.
Right, after.
Well, I'm answering the question that was actually asked.
Okay, go ahead.
And
answer away, Daryl.
I believe it was California said within 5 seconds you must stop. And I think Maryland gives up to 15 seconds.
And this...
After you are informed that consent has been withdrawn, you have to stop.
What about cases of unconsciousness?
Then the person never consented.
Right.
If someone is unconscious, they cannot consent.
Okay, so I want to put a couple girls on notice over the years. It was a nice way to wake up, but I did not consent.
I would like to put the thought in the head that I really think that they'll go back in time and withdraw consent after the event. And next thing you know, I'm a rapist. And I have no way of proving I'm not. Unless that FBI time machine can come and surveil us.
Right, and we're not going to get that. I mean, we're not going to get any great breakthroughs in prosecution. All we're going to get is more of the modern day soap opera, which we have now. And if people can be tried in a court of law, judged by a jury of their peers, and found guilty of committing a crime, then they should, pay for that crime. End of story. But this idea that, when we're not even talking about courts, we're just talking about confirmation hearings, we get just as worked up. And I am on the side that if somebody is going to seek a job of supposedly great trust and, moral turpitude,
right,
then I don't think there's anything wrong with asking them about, issues like this. And I know Republicans hate it, but they're going to do the same thing with
Republicans
Democrats.
only hate it when it's their guy.
When
and
it's
Matthew,
happening,
thank
right?
you for the call.
But that's the whole point. This is what sucks about partisan politics is, this is going to be this right now. I guess. And unfortunately, I've been somewhat divorced from all this stuff lately. It's been a big media circus, and the Republicans are all up in arms. But guys, you're going to be the same way when it's a Democrat in there. That's all there is.
Right. And, it's one of those things to where if somebody wound up as a teenager or, somebody in their early 20s wound up going around committing a bunch of petty shoplifting, I want to know about that. I don't think that person, while certainly people can change, I don't think somebody that, racked up a bunch of petty burglary should wind up being a Supreme Court justice.
Right.
And I'm not trying to equate petty burglary to, molestation of somebody.
Right. And no offense intended for any petty burglars out there to compare you to government employees.
Right. But the point is, as you said, if somebody is going to try getting this position of such high authority over 300 million people,
right,
they should be held to a higher standard.
As far as Kavanaugh goes, I have a bigger problem with him coming up with a scheme where two FBI officers, agents, can look at each other and say, we got to serve a warrant. Do you want to write the warrant for me or should I write it for you?
Right.
Because the last thing we need to do is go before a judge.
Yeah.
That's the kind of crap. Or let's just surveil everybody and charge a guy, surveil a guy for calling a bookstore in Italy about a rare book.
Yeah.
Evidently, that required all the effort of the NSA to go after that. And both of those things are Kavanaugh things, That's what I'm more upset about. If there were anything in this that I'm upset about, it's that we're honestly considering a guy who just does not seem to understand the Constitution, and you're talking about appointing him to the highest court in the land. That's insanity.
Yeah, and I read this quote last night from SCOTUS blog, where it's actually a quote from Kavanaugh that SCOTUS blog reported on, where he says, telephone metadata serves a critically important special need preventing terrorist attacks on the United States. The critical national security need outweighs the impact on the privacy occasioned by this program. So yeah, he wants to spy on you. He's a horrible, horrible man. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 27th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.24 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,188 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,510. Antiwar.com reports citing a general shift in U.S. military focus towards targeting Russia and China in great power competition. Officials say the U.S. will be withdrawing 4 Patriot missile systems from the Middle East. The systems in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain will be sent back to the U.S. in the next 2 months for refit and modernization, and then will be moved on to other locations where they can target nations that are more fashionable targets right now. Pentagon officials are refusing to provide specifics on where these missiles are going, but talks of targeting Russia would suggest more deployments to Eastern Europe, where the U.S. has been participating in a protracted NATO buildup against Russia. As far as China goes, deployment would be less clear, though this might be part of a Pacific pivot that U.S. officials have been talking up for years on end. This may mean deployments to Southeast Asia, as presumably the Korean Peninsula will not be considered with ongoing diplomacy there. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Federal Reserve raised federal interest rates another 0.25% Wednesday to 2.25%. This was the 3rd interest rate increase this year by the Federal Open Market Committee. That committee said in a statement, economic activity has been rising at a strong rate. Job gains have been strong on average in recent months, and the unemployment rate has stayed low. Both overall inflation and inflation for items other than food and energy remain near 2%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up slightly before the Fed's decision on Wednesday, but gained an additional 35 points immediately after the announcement. The Dow typically shows little movement on days of federal policy announcements. The Fed also offered projections for the economy, calling for a change in real GDP in 2019 of 3.1%, above the 2.8% goal of the Trump administration. Inflation is expected to stay in the 2% range for the next 3 years. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports Uber Technologies will pay $148 million for failing to disclose a massive data breach in 2016, marking a costly resolution to one of the biggest embarrassments and legal tangles the ride-hailing company has suffered. The settlement with 50 U.S. states and Washington, D.C. brings closure to one of several high-stakes legal battles Uber is seeking to resolve before an initial public offering next year, while also delivering a national rebuke against Uber's history of flouting laws and basic business ethics. The $148 million is the largest among among attorneys general settlements in privacy cases. By comparison, the multi-state settlement with Target Corp in 2017 over a breach in which 41 million people had their data stolen was $18.5 million. The settlement with Uber follows a 10-month investigation into a data breach that exposed personal data from 57 million Uber accounts, including 600,000 driver's license numbers. The cover-up, widely seen by states as violating data breach reporting and data security laws, drew the ire of authorities across the United States as well as the United Kingdom, Australia, and the Philippines. About half of the data breach victims lived in the United States. The settlement terms include changes to Uber's business practices aimed at preventing further breaches and reforming its corporate culture. Uber will be required to report any data security incidents to states on a quarterly basis for the next 2 years and implement a comprehensive information security program overseen by an executive officer who advises executive staff and Uber's board of directors. In November 2016, Uber paid hackers $100,000 to destroy the stolen data using its bug bounty program. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Big tech news this week as Microsoft has unveiled its new generation Xbox One. Designers say the console's revolutionary new voice command feature makes it easier than ever for the Xbox to control its users. According to Microsoft spokesman Don Matrick, quote, "The Xbox One is programmed with a host of simple voice commands that you will respond to instantly. In addition to phrases like jump, shoot, and insert game disc, users will also understand more complicated instructions like download Call of Duty Update or come into the room and turn on Xbox."
The Xbox One tells us what games to play, what music to listen to, what shows to watch. Watch TV. And with that simple command, I'm watching live TV.
The new Xbox's high-tech sensors can also detect your expression and tell when you're looking away from the television.
Andy, look back at the TV.
Microsoft says the new Xbox can also command you using your smartphone or tablet. TechBuzz is raving, quote, "It's the immersive obedience experience we've been waiting for."
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Kicking off hour number 2 in studio, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And you can call in to join us by dialing toll-free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So we've spent most of the first hour talking about Elon Musk and Brett Kavanaugh. And coming up later, there's still a story about Facebook's two-factor authentication that apparently it's not actually for your safety. It's for selling you advertisement. But
Facebook.
Well, let's change gears here.
Let's talk weed, Daryl.
Let's talk about, since Elon Musk wanted to buy shares at $420, and he actually explained how he came up with that number. He did a 20% markup over whatever the stock was at the time, and then he rounded to the nearest.
Came to like $419.
Yeah, it was $419, and then he added $1 to
Right.
just round up to the next, increment.
Right, and he said his girlfriend would think that's funny and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
So
But
speaking of the 420s,
420. Daryl, how many states have legalized marijuana? I mean, even District of Columbia. We've got Colorado,
8 or 9.
Washington. We've got Vermont. Just did some stuff. It's not
Right.
perfect.
Well,
Maine,
Vermont,
Massachusetts,
and DC have a very similar sort of thing to
Okay.
where neither place allows recreational sales.
Okay.
But most of the penalties for possession have gone away. So if they say that you've got an amount that we think you're going to distribute, then they'll still hit you with possession with intent to distribute.
More to the point, the feds could,
But-
or the
No, no,
state at the state level they could too.
Right. In Vermont, if you've got, say, 5 pounds of marijuana, they are going to say you have the intent to distribute.
Right.
Same thing in D.C. And actually, I think in both places, it's something over 2 ounces.
God, and how many states have medical marijuana now available to
depending
patients?
on how you count.
You said 20-some? 1920?
Depending on how you count, it's as high as 42.
Holy cow.
Because there are some states that they allow for what's called an affirmative defense.
Okay.
Of the reason I had this was for medical purposes, but they don't necessarily allow a doctor to prescribe cannabis.
Right.
Some states will only allow CBD, others allow THC and CBD. So there are a variety of ways that you can count that gets the number anywhere from like 27 to 42.
For those of you who are not under the influence of reefer madness, THC and CBD are both different chemicals that are found in the marijuana plant.
Yes, the cannabis plant.
Cannabis plant, yeah. So one would think, Daryl, then arrests, I mean, that's got to pretty much gone by the wayside. It's not too many circumstances where...
No, I remember not too long after the taxed and regulated cannabis went into effect in Colorado, reading a story that use in public citations had gone up.
Right.
Because even though you can go buy it at what is essentially a corner store, depending on where you're at, like there are a lot of them on corners in Denver.
Right.
You can go purchase, but it is illegal to use in public. So what did Daryl do 2.5 years ago when he visited Denver? And he had a friend take him to one of these dispensaries.
You bought some, went to a Rockies game?
I did not go to a Rockies game.
Okay.
I did buy a cannabis-infused drink.
And then you drank
As soon as I didn't drink the whole thing, but I did take a sip.
Right.
As soon as I stepped onto the public sidewalk, just because I knew that it was illegal to consume in public and I wanted to break a law.
You lawbreaker. Well, one would think that given this trend, and it's a trend across the whole United States pretty much, you would think that people aren't really getting arrested for what basically amounts to ingestion or possession of a plant or a weed, depending on how you look at it. But according to Reason, we still arrest absurd numbers of Americans just for possessing marijuana.
I saw a number, and I don't know if this was just possession or if this was possession with intent to distribute as well, but it was somewhere near 600,000 arrests.
We'll get to that. We still arrest absurd numbers of Americans just for possessing marijuana, even as legalization trends march on. For proof, look at the FBI's data on national crime trends for 2017, which the Bureau released today. Today being the date of this article, which was September 24th. Most of the media attention will be on whether violent crime is up or down. It's down, by the way. But there's another important story in those numbers. The number one reason that people get arrested is drugs. In 2017, there were 1.6 million arrests for, quote, drug abuse violations, unquote. That's more than were arrested for violent crimes, 518,000, or property crimes, 1.25 million. Drill down even further into the FBI stats, and we see how absurdly lopsided drug war enforcement is in the United States. Of those drug arrests, only 15% included charges of manufacturing and sales. Fully 85% of drug arrests were about simply having or using them.
Right. So I'm actually looking at the numbers here from the FBI.
Right.
From the UCR, which I don't see what UCR...
It's the Uniform Crime Reporting.
Got it. So, again, 85% of arrests were for possession of a substance. Not possession with the intent to distribute, but possession.
Simple possession.
And then they have it broken down between heroin or cocaine and their derivatives, cannabis, synthetic or other manufactured drugs, and then, quote, other dangerous non-narcotics. 4.8% were for some kind of synthetic drug.
Okay.
23.3% were, quote, other dangerous non-narcotics. 20%, or actually 20.6%, were for heroin, cocaine, and their derivatives, meaning that 36.7% of all arrests across the U.S. for possession of drugs were for cannabis.
Right.
And they further break this down by region. They have Northeast, Midwest, South, and West. The states on the West,
right?
Those are the ones that all basically have recreational cannabis.
Right.
So only 13.6% of the possession arrest in the Western states were for cannabis. In the South, it was 44.9%. In the Midwest, it was 48%. And in the Northeast, it was 44%.
Wow. And that's crazy. And again, to go back just a step, the number of arrests, the number one arrest is for drugs. That exceeds the number of arrests for violent crimes, which to me is why you would want to have police, if you do want to have police.
Right.
And secondly, for property crimes, when somebody steals or breaks something of yours, you want there to be someone to turn to.
Right.
And those are second and third to drugs, to putting something into your own body.
And let me do some quick math here. 1.6 million arrests for drug violations. And then when you add violent crime and property crime, that is 1.77 million. So almost as many people arrested for drugs as violent crime and property crime combined.
Right. Tom Angle notes in Forbes that the number of actual arrests have increased since 2016. That increase is due to more people being arrested for possession, not manufacturing or sales for those crimes, though there was an 8% drop. So total number of arrests down, but percentage-wise, more people are being arrested just for possession.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. A little bit more from this article from Reason. What are your thoughts here? Should police wind up arresting people for possessing a plant that they smoke and it does stuff? 855-450 free.
Crimes of the Crown by Captain Mark. The Crown casts the world in shadow and claims to be our guiding light. Cowards clamor for security from boogeymen and ghost stories, while I say these hobgoblins are imaginary. I say those they propped up as our liberators are now subsisting on our bondage. I say there is freedom in the black, and that's exactly where we intend to go. The Crown banishes its own officers for exposing its crimes and tortures dissidents to the brink of madness. It dominates the globe and swallows the wealth of generations, leaving only blood and excrement. The Crown calls it piracy to explore frontiers beyond its grasp. So the time has come for us to define the conduct among pirates. I say the Crown has trampled our necks long enough. Need decentralized solutions to centralized problems? Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels? Or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com. We won't be hard to find.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, the road to freedom. a film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. A little bit more from this story from Reason about, surprising, and I say that with tongue firmly planted in cheek. People are still being arrested for possession of cannabis, even though there are some states that have said that you can possess it as long as you've jumped through certain hoops and hurdles to purchase it and you don't have too much of it. But hey, we're regulating it like wine, although nobody's ever been arrested that I'm aware of for having too many grapes.
They've been arrested for having too many wines, though. I guarantee you that.
For drinking them, but not possessing too many bottles. Unless they're driving through a dry county, in which case it's a completely different thing.
There could be that, or if you're transporting a sizable amount of wine from one state to another, then you get federal laws that kick in there,
then there's
too.
some kind of cross-state thing, but nobody at the federal level has said that cannabis is regulated like wine. I'm talking about the lies that were told in Colorado and Washington, where they said, we're going to regulate it like wine. We just need to come up with all of these new regulations that don't currently exist for wine.
Right.
We'll jump back into this story in just a second, but one place that doesn't have legalized cannabis, but does have a Bitcoin conference coming up in just a few weeks. That's going to be Austin, Texas. The 4th annual Texas Bitcoin Conference is coming up October 27th and 28th, exactly 1 month from today, if you're listening at the time that I am speaking these words. The Texas Bitcoin Conference is always a great event for networking, innovation, and entertainment. This year, speakers include Paul Snow of Factom, Bruce Fenton of Ravencoin, Professor John M. Griffin, and more. Go to TexasBitcoinConference.com. TexasBitcoinConference.com. Right now, get your tickets. Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the Texas Bitcoin Conference again. TexasBitcoinConference.com. Before we jump back into the story here from Reason about the cannabis arrests that continue, and again, just to throw one number out, drug abuse violations in 2017 accounted for 1.6 million arrests, whereas arrests for violent crime or property crime combined for 1.76 arrests, meaning that almost as many people were arrested for victimless offenses as were arrested for violent offenses and property crimes. Let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I wanted to bring up the Earth polarity change again tonight.
Okay.
Because I heard the caller, the listener from New Jersey, he was quite shocked that Canada was going to melt and the Mississippi River is going to flow northward, and it's going to be like 30 times wider. I think.
Yeah, you called in a few days ago about this claim, and I've heard some people over the last, I don't know, probably 15 years, talking about this theory that the poles are going to flip, and then rivers are going to stop flowing in riverbeds and start doing all of these things that
happens, Daryl. It does happen. It happens frequently in geologic time. So if you would have been around just
like 11 million years ago or something.
No, you only have to go back 8,000. No, you only have to go back 800,000.
No, every 11,000. That's the correct.
Correct. What's your source?
11,000
Her source is some guy on the radio said something.
Please tell me who your source is, Sarah.
Okay, so the thing is, the reason I'm bringing it up because George Noory, Coast to Coast, and Art Bell Show.
I understand. Is that your source?
That's correct. But here's the thing: is that the shows. The shows, they're on like 2 in the morning and 3 in the morning, and the only people that could listen to this is truck drivers that are driving all night long.
No, and those aren't the only people that can listen. When I worked an overnight shift as a security guard, I listened, and I was absolutely amused by the weird, crazy theories that I heard people talk about, but I didn't believe really any of them. I believe that people believe the theories that they talk about.
Yeah, I hear you. The scientists have identified somewhere around 183 different reversals in 83 million years.
All right.
The latest one was the Brunnies Matayama reversal, which occurred about 780,000 years ago.
So, Chris, since you know a thing or two about
a thing or two
this, and Sarah, thank you for the call. What does this actually wind up meaning? Does this mean that the Mississippi River is going to no longer flow into the Gulf of Mexico? It's just going to flow and take over all of Canada, and somehow all the ice at the North Pole melts, but the South Pole stays icy? Because that's one of the claims that Sarah called in with a couple nights ago.
Well, the most striking thing you would find is if you were holding a compass in your hand and the poles reversed, then suddenly north would be south and south would be north. That would be one of the first indicators. And after that, you're going to have certainly effects on the biosphere. I mean, it's going to mess with birds' migrations and things like that because they follow magnetic signals when they migrate from north to south and things like that.
GPS is not going to work right for a little bit of time.
Why would GPS not work right?
Because the G in GPS is geomagnetic polar something.
It's actually global, but it would be really interesting, and I don't know, and I don't want to downplay it, but I don't know if you can say that there's been, like I said, something like 83 reversals over 83, or what did I say?
100 reversals in 83 million years or something.
Some ballpark like that, and then say that we absolutely know this is going to occur within the next 6 months. It's the same.
Right, and like I said, I've heard this for at least 15 years.
Right.
It's the same thing as the economy's going to collapse in 6 months. The dollar's going to be absolutely worthless in 6 months. Stockpile all of your M&Ms, basically, your metals and your mills.
Right. But it's also the hidden planet Nibiru, which, Coast to Coast AM loves to talk about the hidden mystery Earth's shadow planet that's always on the other side of the sun from us. It's going to creep up and smack us, or it's going to affect us.
The entryway thing in Antarctica that takes you down into the hollow Earth, and there's all of these weird things that people talk about.
Dang.
It doesn't mean any of them are real, but even if they are real, what difference does it make? Am I still going to be able to wake up in the morning and do the things that I do?
I don't know. Do you traditionally wake up and look north?
No.
And say,
I don't know what direction I wake up. I never think about it.
Oh, God. 183 reversals over 83 million years, and the next one could happen someday. The next one will happen someday. We just don't know when.
Someday. It's not going to be today. Probably not going to be tomorrow either. This is Free Talk Live.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Broadcasting to over 1,000 radio stations, GCN programming is in all of the largest markets. A GCN advertising career could be the business opportunity you've been waiting for. Companies need hardworking representatives just like you to handle their needs, while you earn residual income which can last for years. Companies are buying and they need you. Email advertise@gcnlive.com or call 877-996-4327. That's 877-996-4327.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is how you can call in and join us. Or maybe you just want to, sit where you are and watch us. Well, you can do that because we've got some webcams. You can find those over at twitch.lrn.fm. And it's not just Free Talk Live that gets put out on the Twitch. There are a couple other shows that originate from these studios. They get put out as well. Twitch.lrn.fm. And we would like you to follow us and also subscribe, because following and subscribing on Twitch are different than subscribing on, say, YouTube. Where on YouTube, you subscribe and then you get notifications. That's what the follow is on Twitch. On Twitch, the subscribe means that we get a little bit of money. And if you're an Amazon Prime member, then it doesn't cost you anything extra if you're only subscribing to one channel per month. Twitch.lrn.fm. So, Chris, you and I have both done a little bit of digging on the reversing of the polarity, and I'm still wondering, like, why should I be concerned about this? Like, is it going to really affect my day-to-day life? Are rivers just going to stop flowing in riverbeds and just wander wherever, is gravity going to cease to exist and water just goes wherever it wants to go and starts flowing up mountains? Because that's kind of the claim from some people.
Oh, it's all kinds of things. And there'll be a million effects on the biosphere, and we just don't know what's... Yeah, they know what's going to happen. They're trying to make money off of scariness. But go ahead.
I found an article from Live Science titled Why You Probably Should Not Worry About Earth's Magnetic Poles Flipping. It's from February of this year. And they do mention, and Chris, you mentioned this as well, that the magnetic pole does do, kind of a wobble. And they say here, if the poles really do a switcheroo, Earthlings would notice, though scientists aren't worried about a planet-wide doomsday. Just before a reversal, the extreme weakening of our magnetic field, the shield that protects us from charged particles constantly blasting the atmosphere, could cause trouble. Live Science previously reported these charged solar particles could punch holes in the Earth's atmosphere akin to the ozone hole above Antarctica. Not heard that talked about in about 30 years. Whether those holes would have any true impact is debatable, according to scientists. The increased radiation, however, could mess with the navigation of satellites and aircrafts, as well as electrical power grids. Quote here from Phil Livermore and John Mound of the University of Leeds. They are both geophysicists. They say, were this to happen today, the increase in charged particles reaching the Earth would result in increased risk for satellites, aviation, and ground-based electrical infrastructure. And those alleged links between magnetic pole reversals and lights out for the Earth and all its creatures, well, those are more fantasy than reality. So, yeah, might be kind of off for a couple of days.
Right, but there's no money to be made, Daryl, in just saying this might happen in many thousands of years.
Right.
The hype is what sells books, it sells movies, it sells documentaries.
It's going to happen in 6 months. Here's how you protect yourself. Just give me a bunch of money and
I'll tell you how to protect yourself.
Let's go to the phones. We've actually got someone calling in from prison in Michigan. We've got AJ on the line. AJ, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Good evening, Free Talk Live. This is AJ the activist representing Prisoners for Liberty. I'm looking at starting a website for Cody Wilson. People can get in touch with me by going to jpay.com and typing in 274-237 AJ Rouse. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to let Cody Wilson know that there's many people on his side. I truly believe he's being targeted by the government. There's enough circumstantial evidence to prove that, and that he'll get railroaded if he relies on, I don't care if he uses top attorneys, because the problem with the attorneys are they have a bar license, and they're committed to the court first. They're committed to the defendant second. And there's a good chance that no matter what happens, they're going to find him guilty, even if he's innocent. And as far as I'm concerned, he's innocent unless he's proven guilty.
Right.
But the bottom line is we need to do everything from jury nullification to setting up legal defense. And I can tell you right now, I just went through it with 5 attorneys, and I can tell you right now that these attorneys, I don't care if you hire the best attorneys, they're not going to represent you like you would represent yourself. And by the time you figure out the system, you're in prison for 3 or 4 years.
Right.
Because it takes hundreds of hours to figure out all this corruption that's going on. And it is true corruption. And like I said, I've already looked at the Texas laws on this situation, and the age is no defense for sure. However, if they can prove that there was government intervention to trap him, then clearly that entrapment can be used as a defense, number one. Number two, there's a situation with unclean hands here if the allegations are true and she was, prostituting herself on a website. So the bottom line is that's what they consider unclean hands. But what I'd like to do is get other people involved so we can start researching the legal side of this so that we can find out what defenses he has, because basically the only way you can win like this is leaving no stone unturned, and that includes using jury nullification. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever county this is in, they need to start it today. They need to go to the supermarkets, they need to bus people in there, and they start explaining the process of the jury nullification, so that not only will they set him free, but they may set hundreds of other innocent people free as well.
Right.
Because right now the system is so corrupted, the prosecutor can put a person on there that's going to be the foreman, and they can indict a ham sandwich when they get a corrupt foreman on there. So the bottom line is people have to understand what's going on in the criminal justice system. And right now most people don't have any idea until they're involved in it, and then it's too late. No one wants to listen to them because they look like they just got their hand caught in the cookie jar.
Right. Yeah. And as you mentioned, sometimes by the time you figure out the justice system, you're in prison for a couple of years. And then it's a lot harder to wind up, representing yourself because you've only got limited access to the law library. You've got limited access to everything.
To anything. And one thing I do want to bring up, and you mentioned it, and I appreciate you mentioning it, is jury nullification. The sad thing is not a lot of people understand what that is. Jury nullification means if you're on a jury, traditionally you have had a right to judge not only whether the person was innocent or guilty, but also to judge the law itself and to judge whether or not there should even be, even in a preponderance of guilt. Let's say it's marijuana possession and you don't think that should be a crime. You can go on a jury and you can sit there and refuse to say no. You can refuse to say I'm not going to prosecute this kid over possession of pot.
Right.
And that's what jury nullification is. If you want some history on that, look back to the fugitive slave laws and things like that, where people stood up and said, your law's bad, I'm not going to go along with it. Go ahead and continue with your thoughts.
And also, too, you can go to Prisoners for Liberty on Facebook, and you can like us there as well. And like I said, we're still looking for people to assist with that, setting up a website, because we really want to start a nationwide movement where prisoners across the United States start understanding the libertarian process, so that we can get libertarians in office, so that we can get rid of this corruption. It's probably going to take 10 years to do this, but the bottom line is there's a lot of prisoners that know how corrupt the system is, and the bottom line is this is a time where they got plenty of time where they can start understanding this stuff. I hate politics more than anyone else. However, I have no choice because, like I said, I can't continue to come into this prison system because, like I said, it's so unjust that they're locking up thousands and thousands of innocent people every year. Right now, it's averaging between 10 and 15 million people arrested in the United States, the land of the free, the land of liberty, right?
Right.
The bottom line is 2.2 million is the daily average, and right now we have 71 million people in the United States that have criminal records. That's
AJ, not sure if you've got more. Hold the line if you've got more. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free. We'll go back to the phones here in just a second, but first, I want to tell you about Freedoms Phoenix. It's a liberty-oriented news aggregation site with the newest, freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty. freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, phoenix.com, freedomsphoenix.com. Let's go back to the phones where we've got AJ, the activist, calling in from prison in Michigan. You were telling us about a project that you're working on trying to help Cody Wilson down in Texas. So continue with your thoughts.
Yeah, so basically what I want to do is I want to let him know that there's other people on his side. I truly believe in many others that he was targeted by the government, and that we can make a difference. United we stand, divided we fall. So it's important that he knows what, because I know what he's going through. I've been there, done that, and the key is the bottom line is he needs to know there's a lot of support out there, and we can look at different angles, the legal angles. We can look at the jury nullification. We can look at getting support letters. There's a lot of things that we can do, and finding the right attorneys for each argument that he raises, because you have to have a special attorney for each argument that you raise. Somebody that specializes in a particular area, possibly even the constitutionality of the statute itself. And
Right.
and similar to Cody, check that, Ross Ulbricht. I looked at his case. There's 9 published cases on him, and I'd also like to do the same thing, setting up a website for him. I know he's already got one, but the bottom line is he does have another remedy. First off, we need somebody to personally go to the White House to explain his situation with Donald Trump.
Right, and
Number
his
one,
mom is working on that right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I spoke with Lynn a couple of weeks ago, and she's already been talking with some politicians in Washington, D.C., trying to get somebody that has a path to Donald Trump's ear, if you will.
Yes, extremely important, because the key is he's got 2 possibilities of getting out. That's one way. The other thing is he's got a 1-year deadline starting in June the 29th in 2018 when the United States Supreme Court denied cert for his case.
You have 1 minute remaining.
So basically he's under that 1-year window already under the Anti-Terrorist Effective Death Penalty Act. It was signed by President Clinton in 1996. So it's important that he realize that he has a strong ineffective assistance of counsel, because they truly failed to let the court know that they had a expert witness, and that was one of the reasons that hindered his case. And on top of that, his attorney never filed, as far as I can see in the court documents, what's called a motion in limine, which would have limited them from bringing a lot of that information in. So these are some strong arguments that we have to look at. And again, he's less than a 1-year window on that, so it's important that we understand he has 2 ways of getting out. The strongest way right now is getting the President Trump to pardon him, and we need to look at a spokesperson to get in front of the president and explain why he should.
Yeah, and like I said, his mother has been working on that. AJ, thank you for the call. Your time is about to expire on this.
Yes, sir.
The little lady from the telephone thing popped up.
Yeah, we heard that.
Saying, time is almost out.
Well,
like I said, I spoke with Lynn Ulbricht, that's Ross's mother, just a few weeks ago, and she's working on getting somebody in D.C. that can talk to Donald Trump. And I realized that, it sounds rather strange, but there was the lady, and I forget her name off the top of my head, but Kim Kardashian found out about this woman, and she had a connection to Donald Trump, and she went and she talked to Donald Trump and was like, hey, Donald.
That's the thing.
Here's this person.
So I've come to the conclusion you cannot get to Donald Trump through normal channels.
Correct.
That it takes celebrity and it takes some promise of some good press.
Right.
So perhaps that can happen. I will say that this country will experience a heightened awareness of incarceration and the court system, because we're going to see season 2 of Making a Murderer come out here very shortly. I think it's October 19th is going to be the release date on Netflix. And I don't want to belittle this. What I'm going to say is that people will, if you're interested in getting a glimpse inside how people that have been accused and arrested, whether that's falsely or for all the right reasons, I'll leave that up to you to decide, what it's like trying to fight through the courts.
Right.
And it's a nightmare. I
you
highly
said that's
recommend
coming out
the series.
October 19th?
October 19th will be season
Netflix,
2.
I think made an unwise decision on having it come out on the 19th. They should have done October 2nd, because October 2nd is Wrongful Conviction Day.
That would have been perfect, but they didn't. So, yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, again, Ed, did you watch the first season of that?
I did not, but I've heard the story, and I listened to a lot of the Wrongful Conviction podcast with Jason Flom, where he's had a lot of clients from the Innocence Project on his show.
Right.
And just hearing, heartbreaking story after heartbreaking story, and a lot of these, it relies on faulty witnesses, faulty identification, police that they start with a suspect and then try to make the evidence point towards that suspect instead of looking at the evidence and seeing what the evidence points to.
Yeah, and everybody has their own incentives. Police and prosecutors are incentivized to make fast convictions.
Of the first 100 people that the Innocence Project was able to exonerate using DNA evidence, 75 were convicted based on false confessions.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Wait, I'm sorry. False witness identification.
Witness.
There was also a large number that there were false confessions.
Right.
Because people are, led down this road of, hey, if you just give me the info that I'm looking for, you get to go home.
Right. And that's legal, Daryl.
Think about the perverse criminal justice system that we have, to where if you say, I did the thing, you go home. But if you say, I did not do the thing, there's evidence that I did not do the thing, you go to prison for 5, 10, 20, 30 years or more.
One of the things that's always amazed me, excuse me, a little frog in my throat. I'm a little congested today. But, when the police say, if you just give us this much, you just tell us this, then we can set you free.
Yeah.
They can lie. They absolutely can lie. The Supreme Court has upheld the power, because it's not a right, it's a power of the police to lie to you to elicit a confession
they can say,
or to get a conviction.
They can say, we've got your buddy in the next room.
And he's singing like a bird.
He just threw you under the bus.
Yeah.
I just need you to tell me if what he said is true. And then you start talking.
Right.
Your buddy might not have ever even been down to the police station.
That whole Miranda thing where you have the right to remain silent? Use that right to remain silent.
They're going to lead you where they want you to go.
Yeah. And don't think that people fall for it, number one, and don't think that occasionally, very occasionally, thanks to hard work of people like the Innocence Project, that these things get brought to light. They get shown that the prosecutor, that the police, they all lied, or that they were just more focused on getting the quick conviction, and they didn't put in the real police work to find out who really did it. And what upsets me most about those, especially in cases of murder, okay, you've got the wrong guy in prison, which means that there's somebody out there.
There's still a murderer running around loose.
Some person who is capable of taking another life is running around for 10, 20 years. That should bother everyone.
Yeah. And since we're talking about the Innocence Project, I'll talk about what I'm doing in less than 6 weeks now. And that's heading down to New York City for the New York City Marathon to run in the marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project. So far in 2018, they've had 9 clients walk free. These are people that were innocent, who served a combined 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. Again, October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform the broken criminal justice system to prevent future wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project has 200 clients who need your help. You can help by going to run.freetalklive.com. I've already raised $4,500. I want to raise $5,000. Head over to run.freetalklive.com. There's more coming up in hour number 3, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They show pride in every stitch, guarantee you'll love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue Diamond Gusset's got it. others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it. Others don't.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, September 27th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.24 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,188 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,510. Antiwar.com reports citing a general shift in U.S. military focus towards targeting Russia and China in great power competition. Officials say the U.S. will be withdrawing 4 Patriot missile systems from the Middle East. The systems in Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain will be sent back to the U.S. in the next 2 months for refit and modernization, and then will be moved on to other locations where they can target nations that are more fashionable targets right now. Pentagon officials are refusing to provide specifics on where these missiles are going, but talks of targeting Russia would suggest more deployments to Eastern Europe, where the U.S. has been participating in a protracted NATO buildup against Russia. As far as China goes, deployment would be less clear, though this might be part of a Pacific pivot that U.S. officials have been talking up for years on end. This may mean deployments to Southeast Asia, as presumably the Korean Peninsula will not be considered with ongoing diplomacy there. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Federal Reserve raised federal interest rates another 0.25% Wednesday to 2.25%. This was the third interest rate increase this year by the Federal Open Market Committee. That committee said in a statement, economic activity has been rising at a strong rate. Job gains have been strong on average in recent months, and the unemployment rate has stayed low. Both overall inflation and inflation for items other than food and energy remain near 2%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up slightly before the Fed's decision on Wednesday, but gained an additional 35 points immediately after the announcement. The Dow typically shows little movement on days of federal policy announcements. The Fed also offered projections for the economy, calling for a change in real GDP in 2019 of 3.1%, above the 2.8% goal of the Trump administration. Inflation is expected to stay in the 2% range for the next 3 years. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Find A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty by Daryl W. Perry on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports Uber Technologies will pay $148 million for failing to disclose a massive data breach in 2016, marking a costly resolution to one of the biggest embarrassments and legal tangles the ride-hailing company has suffered. The settlement with 50 U.S. states and Washington, D.C. brings closure to one of several high-stakes legal battles Uber is seeking to resolve before an initial public offering next year, while also delivering a national rebuke against Uber's history of flouting laws and basic business ethics. The $148 million is the largest among attorneys general settlements in privacy cases. By comparison, the multi-state settlement with Target Corp in 2017 over a breach in which 41 million people had their data stolen was $18.5 million. The settlement with Uber follows a 10-month investigation into a data breach that exposed personal data from 57 million Uber accounts, including 600,000 driver's license numbers. The cover-up, widely seen by states as violating data breach reporting and data security laws, drew the ire of authorities across the United States, as well as the United Kingdom, Australia, and the Philippines. About half of the data breach victims lived in the United States. The settlement terms include changes to Uber's business practices aimed at preventing further breaches and reforming its corporate culture. Uber will be required to report any data security incidents to states on a quarterly basis for the next 2 years and implement a comprehensive information security program overseen by an executive officer who advises executive staff and Uber's board of directors. In November 2016, Uber paid hackers $100,000 to destroy the stolen data using its bug bounty program. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
This is The Onion Week in Review. In light of reports this week of a Russian crime ring stealing 1.2 billion username and password combinations from internet users, experts from top security firms across the country reportedly advised Americans to refrain from clicking on anything at all. The nation's top security specialists warned individuals to actively avoid any scrolling or swiping on the internet, and further urged Americans, as an added precaution, to steer clear of buttons, keyboards, and computer screens altogether. In other news, an employer botches a job interview. A date's flaws are coming at a woman faster than she can rationalize them, and a going out of business sign thanks a neighborhood for 3 months of no support whatsoever. Whether or not this video news summary eased the pain of your existence, you can now take solace in the fact that you're a few minutes closer to departing this meaningless world. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live, kicking off our number 3 in studio tonight. It's Daryl
and Chris.
And you can join us by dialing toll-free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So earlier on, we teased a story about Facebook's use of two-factor authentication. And the claim is that, well, you need this two-factor authentication to protect your privacy, to protect your account, and to make sure that Russian hackers aren't using your identity to buy fake political ads or something. I still am not sure, all of the claims about the whole Russian hacker thing that might have not actually been Russian hackers buying the ads on fake profiles or something.
Stole the election, Daryl. They've had the audacity to mess with a sovereign state's elections. What could be more sacred?
And isn't the claim that they bought like $1,000 worth of ads and the ads weren't even that good?
I wasn't talking about Russia. I was talking about the U.S. with Chile and interfering in their elections, or the Ukraine, where we interfered with the Ukrainian elections, or the U.S. interfering with Ecuador.
Basically every election outside of Russia, apparently, although there's probably been some meddling there. But the claim about, why if you operate a page with more than 50,000 likes, you've got to have this two-factor authentication to make sure that some kind of hacker doesn't wind up making political ads.
Well, a lot of people probably don't even know what two-factor authentication is, so I'm going to give you the real brief, dumbed-down version from a former IT guy.
You're a former IT guy.
I am. I'm a former geek. I'm still a geek, but I used to be a geek who got paid for being a geek. But the idea behind two-factor authentication is to offer something that is more secure than just a username and password.
Right.
So with a username and password, you are offering, who you are and something you know.
Right.
And the idea behind two-factor authentication, when you use a different device or you get some other code, it's who you are, something you know, and something you have.
Right.
And
or something you have access to.
Right. So the idea being that you're offering a third level of authentication, and frequently the most common way that people use two-factor authentication today is usually with an app like Google Authenticator on their phone, or an app like Authy. Authy I really like because it lets you save all those accounts and you can authenticate all of them from one app.
And then I realized that this is not, necessarily secure, and I don't want to get into the weeds about all of the reasons that it's not necessarily secure, and I'm using air quotes there for those playing at home, is SMS. Because there are ways that somebody can put your number to another device, and if they know that you're getting SMS for certain things and they want that, then it's not the best, but it's better than nothing.
It's barely better than nothing. In some ways, it actually makes it easier to be hacked. Look at John McAfee. I mean, that was how he got his Twitter account hacked, was by using SMS.
Oh, I didn't know he got his Twitter account hacked.
He did. It's a really bad practice. So the idea is, I strongly support two-factor authentication. I encourage everyone to either load one of those apps that I talked about. Google Authenticator, I'm not a big fan of. Authy's a little bit better, but there's apps.
And then I know other tech people that they're not a fan of Authy because there's some kind of cloud something.
There's going to be a centralized system. And you'd have to get that hacked, and there's all sorts of things.
And then I know that there's a couple of websites that I use that their built-in sort of version of two-factor is we will email a code to you.
Right. But again, is your email secure? So there's all these different things. That the point being, if you add in multiple ways, that's multiple things that people would have to hack to actually get into your account. And then there's also
the people that will use something like a YubiKey,
which I do.
A physical device that you have that doesn't get a code sent to it. You have to, put it in your USB hole.
Yep, I use a YubiKey, and it's a great way because then it is truly something you know plus something you have.
Right.
So that can kind of work. So
what's the story here about Facebook's two-factor?
We like it, and we like the fact that Facebook has supported two-factor authentication, and you'll see some things like, you can now log in with, by using biometrics on your computer and things like that.
Thank you.
The problem is that two-factor authentication in Microsoft's, I'm just going to read this. This comes to us from Tom's Hardware, which is a really good, old school IT type site. Two-factor authentication is a must. People use weak passwords. Companies fail to properly secure user information, and patient hackers can rely on sophisticated tools to crack many passwords if the proper countermeasures aren't in place. But it turns out Facebook also uses the system for ad targeting.
Wait, hold on. I thought that two-factor was supposed to secure my account, not wind up making it easier for some running shoe company to tell me about a running shoe that they have that I'm probably never going to buy.
I bet you get lots of running shoe ads. But
I do.
In this case...
they all have laces, so I'll never buy them.
So here you have Facebook doing a good thing in encouraging and requiring users to use two-factor authentication. But then on the flip side saying, I know we can make a buck off this if we just figure out a way. Northeastern University's Giridhari Nektakatari, Alan Mislov, and Pyotr Sapazinski. This is why you should always read the names before you read a story, Daryl. This is my own little reminder.
So three guys from Northeastern University.
Yep. Published a paper in collaboration with Princeton University's Elena Lucarini, revealing that Facebook gathers more information than many of its users think. This includes using the phone numbers people use to enable two-factor authentication, which means attempting to secure a Facebook account will actually expose more data to advertisers.
Hold on. Are there people that didn't realize that when Facebook asked for a telephone number that they were storing the telephone number?
Well, the way it is, I'm going to keep reading the story, Daryl, because it talks about that specifically.
Right. I'm just confused here where they say that these people revealed that Facebook gathers more information and then mentions telephone numbers that you provided to Facebook.
You are asking questions that skip ahead in the story, but I'll give you the elevator pitch on this. Basically, what it is you used to be able to create and maintain a Facebook account without a phone number until two-factor came in, and then they said, you're going to use two-factor authentication. We're going to make you use two-factor authentication, so we now require you to provide us with a phone number.
Right, but most people provided a phone number anyway.
Doesn't matter. If you chose to opt out of that, Facebook came back and said, well, sorry, and then, you can no longer opt out of that. Let's just go on with the story.
Hold on. Before we do...
Which is going to answer all the questions you're about to ask.
No, I'm actually not about to ask a question. I remember reading something not too long ago, and I forget why I was digging into this, about various times that people will see certain ads for certain things.
Right.
Well, you've got a telephone number connected to your Facebook account. What's your CVS reward card connected to? The rewards card that you've got at your local grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, almost all of those are connected to your telephone number.
Yeah.
So that when you go and you tell the lady at CVS, oh, yeah, my rewards card number is connected to my telephone, and here's my telephone number.
Right. We can just look it up from your phone number.
Right. They punch that in, they scan your items, and then there's a database, and it might not necessarily be tied to Daryl Perry or Chris Reitman, but it's tied to something to where they know that all of these accounts have the same number.
It's amazing how interconnected we are, and guess what, folks? You continue to give that information up voluntarily.
And you wonder why you get the ad on Facebook for a headache medicine after you bought tissues at CVS.
Right.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition. The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not,
Can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back into this article about Facebook's use of two-factor authentication to... No, it's not necessarily to protect your account. It's to make it easier for them to serve you ads. But before we get back into that, want to make sure that I tell you about Zencash's rebranding to Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, and I don't know how they're going to be able to do this, but they're working on it, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. H-O-R-I-Z-E-N. Horizon.global.
Yeah, Daryl, we've been talking about Facebook and privacy and use of two-factor authentications, which even Facebook says is a great idea, but as it turns out, if you went to sign up for it, now they're requiring a phone number, which for two-factor authentication now exposes you to more ads. This story, again, comes to us from Tom's Hardware. This data sharing isn't disclosed when people enable two-factor authentication on their Facebook accounts. Gizmodo's Kashmir Hill said that a spokesman denied using their data when she asked if Facebook used what it calls, quote, shadow contact information, unquote, for ad targeting over a year ago. The company didn't merely hide this practice from its users, it also lied to a reporter who suspected everything wasn't on the up and up. Facebook recently told Hill that people who don't want their phone numbers to be shared with advertisers should use app-based two-factor authentication. But that option was only added 4 months ago. Before then, people had used their phones to secure their accounts. Sharing those phone numbers with advertisers was neither a warning or consent, effectively punishing those who care most about their security. That wasn't the only revelation from this paper. The researchers also revealed that Facebook lets advertisers use contact information for ad targeting even if the phone number, email, or what have you was collected from someone else's address book. Get that, Daryl? They collect your data from my address book, and they're going to start targeting you with ads.
Of course they are. And I want to go back to something that you just said a moment ago about the telephone numbers. When they first rolled out two-factor authentication, they said you have to have a telephone number.
Right.
So the people that said, I want to be able to protect my account because I care about my privacy.
Right. I'm concerned with companies knowing too much about me.
They were being punished because Facebook was sharing telephone numbers with advertisers and other third parties. So if you have two-factor authentication and it's tied to your telephone number, you're being punished for trying to protect your privacy.
Yeah, something like that. There is a reasonable expectation that any information someone decides to share with Facebook will be given to advertisers. And I'm telling you, folks, it's just common sense at this point. Right. If somebody is offering you a free service, I think Mark has said this repeatedly, if they're offering something to you for free, then you're probably what's for sale.
Right.
I'm paraphrasing
there. If you're not
there.
paying for the service, you're the product.
Right. And that's what this world is, and this world is, and by world I mean this world of sharing personal information for advertising uses is worth billions. I mean billions of dollars. Knowing exactly who is sick in the country, so you can target them with cold medicine.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, we've noted that within your geographic area, there's been an influx of people suffering flu-like symptoms. Would you like to buy some emergency now? Hey, maybe you want to buy some cough drops and some tissues and maybe a Vicks vapor inhaler.
It's not only that. I mean, it gets much more personal and much more insidious, and that's what bothers people when they're looking at an ad on their phone, going, "I swear I didn't even say this. I was thinking it, and it shows up." Well, somewhere in this chain, you have done something that would lead them to believe, based on. And it may not even be Facebook. We were having a conversation during the break. It may be CVS Pharmacy.
Right.
Something you bought
something
there
at CVS.
You used your rewards card.
That rewards card is attached to your phone number. You bought something else at the grocer.
Right.
That rewards card is attached to your phone number. Then you went somewhere else. You ordered a pizza from Domino's, and then they've got your phone number.
Right.
And all of these things, and there's some kind of formula.
Well, there's not only that, but there's companies called aggregators that are taking all these feeds from everywhere else, and they're doing like the machine language analysis on this stuff, right, and then selling
that's where there's the formula. The aggregators have the formula, calculating all of these things, and based on this, and this, we think that you might be interested in this.
Right, when that information is going to be for sale. So,
do you like pineapples on your pizza?
I do, but many don't. By now, everybody should understand the company's business model, so filling out the About section on a profile or voluntarily sharing contact information obviously exposes that data to other companies. These revelations differ, however, in that Facebook is peddling data nobody voluntarily shared. Entering a phone number to enable two-factor authentication isn't the same as sharing an address book with Facebook, and having contact information connected to an account simply because someone else who did share their address has the data penalizes users with active social lives. Forcing people to decide between their privacy or their security and social lives isn't reasonable. It's flat out bonkers.
Yeah. And then, one of the things that I've heard people talk about when you download new apps, a lot of times they'll say, this app would like to access
your microphone and your camera.
Everything. It needs access to your contacts, the music that you've downloaded in your music folder, the podcast you listen to,
right,
your microphone, your camera, your front-facing camera, the audio recorder, the speaker, this, that, the other thing. And it's like, I just want to be able to calculate miles to centimeters.
I just want to play Words with Friends. The funny thing about a lot of those things,
But
and
you can't.
here's a little tip.
Because you need friends.
Exactly. I have lots of friends.
Yes.
Look at my Facebook page. The funny thing is a lot of those requests, for access to certain parts of your phone are not needed by the app.
Right.
They do it because that helps them monetize the information they can collect through there. So the next time you install an app and it's starting to say, this app would like access to your microphone, here's a little experiment. Just say no and see if the app still works.
Right. And a lot of the apps nowadays, especially with Android, I think, they compartmentalize the things.
Right.
So it will only ask to access the camera when you try to use the camera function.
Right.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Think that's scary? Well, Apple, they're doing something really scary. This is Free Talk Live.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Free Talk Live.
Wish you would have answered the question as to what's the age range. I mean, if two 10-year-old boys are playing doctor with each other, and he was specific that he said it was okay for a boy and a girl to play doctor, which did happen to me when I was that age, but I was 2.5, 3 years older than that girl. Am I a molester? She was the one trying to take my pants off. Should she go to jail?
People like Lou, they get all upset over things like this when they're not even apprised of the facts. And you try to tell them the facts, and since it doesn't fit with their worldview, it doesn't fit with their core belief system, it can't be possibly true that I could have possibly have known what I was doing at that
Children
age.
who are engaged in sex with somebody who is older are being manipulated. That's one of them. Sometimes sometimes that's true.
Absolutely. There's no doubt.
And sometimes it's not.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free. They set up fast, and the batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at your house anytime, anywhere from your smartphone or other portable device like a tablet. There are no contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You get 3 Blink security cameras for way less than what the other guys charge, plus get an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blinkprotect.com, all one word, blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company. So we've been talking this hour about Facebook's use of two-factor authentication to serve you better ads. Not to actually protect your account. You think Facebook cares about you? No, they want to serve you better ads. If you're not paying for the service, you are the product. And no, I didn't come up with that. Chris didn't come up with that. I don't know who did. I've heard it from numerous people.
I hear Mark repeat that.
Yeah, I think I've also heard Ernest Hancock.
I'm sure a lot of people have.
Independence say that numerous times.
I will wager that someone in the 1400s, if thou shalt not have a...
Let's attribute it to Anonymous. Anonymous has all the best quotes.
Okay, there you go.
Let's go to the phones where we've got David calling in from San Francisco. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, how are you? Two things. I just got back from watching the brand new Michael Moore movie, and I got to recommend it all the ways around. It's an amazing movie. It's pretty powerful. It shows how America's gotten suckered not only by Obama and Trump, but many of these scams from decades back. If you remember Jimmy Carter's era, there was the Trilateral Commission. And the fat cats that were trying to carve up our property for their personal gain. Kind of interesting. He doesn't say it outright in there, but you know how we just gave the big tax break to the super rich? They don't want to pay taxes, but they want to run our lives. And that flies in the face of the very principle of taxation with representation. So the people that pay taxes should have representation, but the fat cats want to hog everything and not pay taxes.
Well,
so it's an amazing scandal as that goes.
I'll join the group and say there that I don't want to pay taxes either.
Well, do you expect fresh, water to come out of your tap? If you flush your toilet, do you want that just to go into the, down the sidewalk, or do you get anything for your taxes, or are you just another mooch?
Another mooch. Wow, David. I thought we were friends. Come on, man.
Now, Chris, you've got well and a septic, correct?
Right, I've got well. So in a lot of these things you're bringing up, David, I am self-sufficient. I don't need the tax-provided things. What I would much rather have would be a system where I could voluntarily pay for things I want to support and not pay for things I don't want to support. So personally, I'm not a fan of tax dollars going to support abortion. Now that's a personal thing, and not everybody's going to agree with that. And you can throw all the, it's a woman's right to choose at me. I just don't want my money paying for it, but I'm forced to. I don't want my money paying for bombs raining down on brown children in Yemen, because I don't think that's a war worth fighting. There's nothing in it that affects the U.S. in any way other than keeping one of our allies happy. So that's where I'm at. And you and I we're always going to have to agree to disagree on this.
Well, again, that comes back to taxation with representation. And I've mentioned, 100 years ago, the very Congress that suckered us into the Federal Reserve also suckered us into getting less taxation with representation. We used to get for every 30,000 people, there should be a new congressman.
Right.
But in 1914, they topped off Congress at 435 members. And so now the workload on a congressman has gone from 30,000 people to now well over 800,000.
You're insinuating that they actually work. Come on, man. The other thing they did...
They do a lot of stuff. It's not easy going to all of those meetings with lobbyists and trying to beg people for money to help you get reelected. That's not easy work.
If you look at it in a whether it's satirical or sarcastic way like you're doing, the way they've designed it so that it can't work. And that all of what you're describing is now the standard.
It works.
But if you have a number for like 30,000, the original writers of the Constitution figured out that somewhere between 25 and 40,000 would be a healthy number for a Congress, workload for a congressman, and so now you've got various areas. You've got mountain areas, you've got coastal areas, you've got river areas, you've got farming areas, you've got cattle areas, you've got, business areas, you've got all these different regions. Right now in America, there are only 2 congressional districts. As I understand it, there are only 2 congressional districts out of 435 that get more money back in April 15th than they put in.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 biggest of the military-industrial complex areas. One of them's in East Texas, and the other one's in Georgia.
I don't doubt you. But the other thing I would throw out about 1913 gave us the Federal Reserve Act, and when was the amendment that allowed for direct taxation?
16th Amendment. I
19.
think it came out of Congress that same year or a year later and then got ratified a couple years later by the states.
Basically, if I could choose one year to sort of wipe out of our history, I would love to wipe out 1913.
Well, and that's why I was recommending this Michael Moore movie, because it gives a lot of answers in a lot of different ways. I know you all are libertarians. I'm green myself. I try to stay more scientific than... I don't believe the laws of economics. Laws of economics try to defy the laws of physics. The laws of physics say that for every action there's a separate equal reaction. The laws of economics say that you can have a separate equal reaction plus profit. And that's a fly-by-night scheme.
Yeah, that's sort of a misrepresentation. And here's why I think that a lot of libertarians subscribe to either the classical view of economics or they subscribe to the Austrian school view, is that we recognize that you cannot write down a list of rules and laws that will explain how economic systems work. The Austrian school specifically looks at it as simple human action, that things will occur, and you cannot control the billions, the trillions of decisions made by billions of people to try to steer a economy in a particular direction. All you can do is either mess with it by manipulating the markets or manipulating the marketplace or manipulating interest rates or manipulating the supply of money, or you can just let it work.
And speaking of manipulating, there was the story yesterday that the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee decided to manipulate the interest rates by rising them 0.25%.
Yeah.
So that they can, in their own words, hope to maintain inflation at about 2%.
And David, you're insinuating I can describe a profit if I buy a candy bar from Daryl for $1, and I know that Ian's really hungry, and I sell it to him for $1.25. I just realized a 25% profit. What's wrong with that? Maybe we can talk about that when we get back.
Yeah, David, if you've got more, hold the line.
Yeah.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Do the laws of economics defy the laws of physics? And are there actually laws of economics, or is it all just theory?
It's made up.
This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of LicoChops, get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved LicoChops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try LicoChops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Hello, this is Dr. Bill Deagle, MD of NutriMedical.com, announcing the breakthrough Red Deer Velvet DR. It delivers the protected building blocks of all organs and tissues, allowing your own stem cells as architects and engineers to regenerate you. Not since fetal life, when aging does not occur, has such an amazing NutriMed been available to help heal you and regenerate you. Anti-aging requires that you correct mineral, activated nutraceutical, and jump the gene defects and poor diet you have to deliver the cellular tools for regeneration. You must remove old damaged cells and replace them with your young healthy cells to wind the biological clock to a younger you. Order your Red Deer Velvet DR now at NutriMedical.com 24/7 or 888-212-8871. That's NutriMedical, N-U-T-R-I, medical, MEDICAL.com. Or call our order line 888-212-8871.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now to 855-450-FREE. 1-855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Daryl.
And Chris.
And if you like the show, consider joining the AMP program. AMP is short for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And your $5 pooled together with other people's $5 or more helps us do those things. Advertise, market, and promote the show to program directors who make the decisions to add us to broadcast radio stations. We're on about 190 stations right now. We can be on even more with your help. And we started a few weeks ago thanking the amplifiers, and we're going through and thanking them individually here and collectively. So thank you to all of you, specifically to Davi Barker, the Muslim agorist. He is a platinum level amplifier, meaning that I believe platinum is $25 per month. So Davi, thank you for your amping. And if we have not gotten to you yet, don't worry, we will. amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. And I just realized how ominous that sounded. If we've not gotten to you, we will. No, like we'll get around to thanking you. Just, it might take a little bit of time. amp.freetalklive.com. Let's head back to the phones where we've got David in San Francisco. And David, thank you for holding the line. So we're having a discussion here, and it's sort of like a 2 or 3 pronged discussion about taxation, representation, and economics. And
right, yeah.
David, you had asked a question, or you made a statement about the laws of economics defying the laws of physics because profits just magically happen. And then, Chris, you had given an example of how you see a profit happen.
Yeah, but that's all right. I just wanted to get David's kind of drill down into his ideas behind his statements. And
well,
go ahead.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up in that way, I heard you talking about the internet snooping and the the new Facebook policy and using the visitors, let's say, as commerce,
which they do.
I've been calling that commerce in souls. It's based on the idea that after I actually think that a historian could probably get a pretty good thesis out of the idea that nations rise. When I've described that profit is imaginary, they milk the nation, they ruin the topsoil, they poison the water, they basically decimate the quality of life in a region. And then when they're down to the last bits, they start selling off the people.
You do realize that the profits have existed for thousands of years. As long as there's been trade in money, there's always been profits.
Right, but if you look at, say, for example, ancient Egypt, I've been to Egypt, and when you see that it's enormous desert, just blistering desert, 100 yards from the Nile,
right.
It doesn't make any sense. And it shows that they must have done something enormously wrong to their civilization to poison the land. I'm wondering if they didn't do something like fracking. Because
with alien technology, because they had the pyramids right there that aliens built. I'm with you.
The pyramids are batteries.
Are they batteries? I know they'll keep a razor blade sharp for eons.
Well, and similarly, in Jesus says that an expression in the Bible, it's, where are the cedars of Lebanon? And it's basically the idea that every time you have a war, the military comes in, cuts down all the trees so that the enemy can't hide. And so they turn their land into a blistering desert because they're too paranoid. You see the ancient Greeks, the Romans have done the same thing. They've cut down all of their forests just to, get firewood, and by getting rid of their forests, they ruin their quality of soil, they ruin their quality of life. And we here in America doing the same thing. Here in California, cutting down the redwoods. We've ruined fishing because the streams are too hot for the fish. the fish can't spawn anymore because the rivers are getting too hot.
Right.
Well, and part of that has to do with diverting water away from the streams so that people can live in the middle of a desert.
Right, which were basically projects created by your government. This is the part that frustrates me. Yeah.
It's not created by the government, it's authorized.
Oh, no. I'm talking about stuff that happened during the Great Depression, that it was absolutely the government who did it. They didn't authorize a dam, they built the dam. That was their Make Work program.
The TVA.
Yeah. So
well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because TVA, out here in California, I work on energy issues, and TVA, you know, when say, for example, a couple of years ago, Iran had a whole bunch of centrifuges to purify their radioactive isotopes and have nuclear power. The TVA,
that's actually
when it was
not why
running,
they were doing any of that. They were trying to get medical grade uranium to help cancer patients. But go ahead with whatever the thought was that you had.
Much of the fuel that we've got today that was processed through the TVA, they still have never created enough energy out of the nuclear power plants to equal how much energy they spent on those centrifuges. So they ran those centrifuges for years trying to purify that stuff, and they've still never equaled the amount of energy that it took to purify it. And now they've ended up with this enormously potent poison that they can't get rid of because the centrifuges purified it so well. And so this mockery of an economic system finally gets down to the point where they use the people as the commerce. And like on Facebook, you know, you end up with commerce in souls. They're buying and selling our lives. The stock market is based upon the ad revenues that are going to be used to sell us junk that we don't need, and it's based upon this falsity. And in fact, if you go to Moses' law on Jubilee, you know, if you're a farmer, you know you have to let the soil rest every once in a while. And Moses had this law of Jubilee that was kind of based on that every once in a while you have to let the economy calm down to a normal point and deal with this overage of, you have to clean up the poisons that you've left in your productions.
Oh,
you know, your rivers.
David. I appreciate you. I really do, because I do appreciate hearing this point of view. I just wish you would be open to some of the reality that has happened, and in a lot of these cases, a lot of these things that you talk about, government is behind it. And I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm just explaining to you. Here in California,
government was the super rich. The five founding families of California. Well, in some ways, yeah, absolutely. And the rest of the nation,
look at Hollywood,
you know, the Bank of England, whatever.
Right.
So we've been bull-nosed into bad ideas and bull-nosed into bad inventions, sticking with burning rocks for electricity instead of going solar and wind. Allowing people to authorize them to poison our rivers, authorizing them to cut down the forests, authorizing them to turn...
This is where a free market solution, and David, thank you for the call. This is where a free market solution would be so much better than the government solution, to where the government, as he mentioned, it's the government that authorizes these entities to pollute the water.
Right.
In a free market, if your water is polluted, then the company that does the polluting would be held liable through lawsuits and torts.
Yes, and that's what it comes down to. And it would be too
expensive for them to pollute, because they would have to compensate everybody that they harm.
Right, and it's difficult to explain to some people that, you know, this what we see as a reality is that, you know, everybody functions based on incentives and disincentives.
Right.
You know, what is going to be good for me, what is going to be bad for me. And and the great thing about that system is, even if you're a bad actor, you're still not going to want to expose yourself to financial ruin by being a bad actor. So the ideas of liberty, the ideas of a free market promote good behavior. They promote being good to your neighbors. They promote doing good things for the economy, or for the environment and things like that. So
and
that's why I see it as a moral issue.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up Flint, which was a complete, debacle involving government completely. We're almost out of time for tonight, but if I could recommend one book for somebody to read, Healing Our World by Dr. Mary Ruwart. We're out of time for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, and we are always online at freetalklive.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind